Abrams Boxing Show, powered by Last Out Media and brought to you by www.15rounds.com, the worldwide leader in boxing news. Also, Abrams Boxing PR Media and Broadcasting, the industry standard for boxing media relations and play-by-play broadcasting. Also, check out www.abramsboxing.com, Abrams Boxing on YouTube, as well as M. Abrams Boxing on Twitter and Marc Abrams Boxing on Instagram. Hello, boxing fans. Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. I'm Marc Abrams, and got a packed show for you this week. Doing something a little bit different. I'm going to, instead of having a guest, I took some snippets from last week's New York press conference that announced Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. In fact, I'm going to have the portions where Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins spoke. So they talked very, very candidly and vividly about the big fight coming up on April 22nd. Little programming note. Next week, I'll be live from Las Vegas during Plant Benavides Week or Benavides Plant Week. So I'll be doing a lot of live shows from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. You can see them all on Abrams Boxing on YouTube. Let's get right to it this week, where WBO number one ranked junior middleweight in the world, Tszyu, 22-0, now 16 knockouts as he stopped Tony Harrison to win the WBO interim junior middleweight title, technically Sunday morning in Australia, Saturday night here in the United States, and was live on Showtime. Harrison came out well, jabbing, boxing pretty well for the first round and a half, 2 rounds, and Tszyu took over. Beat down Harrison, who's now 29-4-1, 21 knockouts, and became the WBO interim junior middleweight champion. They had Jermell Charlo in the studio commentating to set up what will be now a very much anticipated bout later in the summer between Tszyu and Charlo for the undisputed 154-pound championship that will take place, like we said, later this summer. In the 9th round, Tszyu finally dropped Harrison with a barrage of punches, and the time was at 2:43 after Harrison got up, barely beat the count, was on shaky legs, and the referee stopped the fight at 2:43 of round 9. So Tszyu with a very impressive performance this past Saturday night in Australia. Earlier in the day, 42-year-old Carlos Takam went to 47-1. 28 knockouts, scored a 10-round split decision over 2016 Olympic gold medal winner Tony Yoka. Yoka now 11-2, 9 knockouts. Guess the second straight loss for Yoka, who was beat by Marc earlier late last year. Scores are 96-94 twice for Bakam and 96-94 for Tony Yoka. So I think Yoka now, instead of being a real contender, is probably going to fall into opponentville after the 2 losses to Bacall and Takam. Friday night in Bethlehem, PA, I had the pleasure of calling the fight. Julian Rodriguez, 22-1, 14 knockouts, came off a 21-month layoff to win a 10-round unanimous decision over Kayshawn Hutchinson. Hutchinson now 10-6. Hutchinson had won straight fights before that. Scores were 80-72 and 78-74 twice for Julian Rodriguez, who's once a big prospect. Suffered a loss to Jose Pedraza, who's still a young fighter, 27 years old, trying to right himself. So that's a good first step, winning the 8-round unanimous decision. Last Wednesday night, Luis Torres scored a 10-round unanimous decision over Misael Cabrera. Torres now 18-0, 10 knockouts for the WBC Latino title in Ciudad Obregón, Mexico. That fight was on Pro Box TV. And also Saturday night in Orlando, I flew from Bethlehem to Orlando Friday night or Saturday morning. Called that fight, Thomas, a big 13-fight card. Thomas Cornflake Lamana defeats Salim Larbi to win the WBA Fed Latin middleweight title. Lamana, who's ranked number 5 in the WBA, is a middleweight. We'll get into the WBA middleweight scene in a few minutes. This week, Saturday night, Long Beach, California, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, 44 and 130 knockouts, takes on Gabriel Rosado, 26-16 and 113 knockouts in a fight in light heavyweight. I don't like that for Rosado. Fight will be live on the Zone. Rosado coming towards the end of his career, stepping up in weight. You know, he went from 54 to 60, fought for the title at 60 a couple times. 68 was lost pretty much every round to Akhmedev on the Canelo Golovkin 3 card, and now moving up the light heavyweight to face Gilberto Ramirez, who in his first fight back since the loss to Dimitri Bivol. Sorry about that. Don't like that for Rosado. I just hope it's not one of those fights where he takes a ton of punches and he just suffers a beating. I expect Ramirez to win, probably by stoppage in the first 6-7 rounds of that fight. The co-feature will fit former world title challengers Joseph Diaz, 32-3-1. 15 knockouts against Mercedes Hesta, 33-3-1, 17 knockouts in a lightweight battle. So that should be a pretty competitive fight. In the afternoon on the Zone, Eddie Hearn will present his Next Gen series, kind of like the Matchroom version of Showbox, where he will have Cyrus Pattinson 5-0 take on Chris Jenkins 23-6-3 in a welterweight bout. Saturday on BXNGTV.com from West Palm Beach, Florida, undefeated light heavyweight Sergey Novikov 13-0, 13 knockouts, takes on Scott Lampert 5-6. Thursday night on ESPN Plus, former light heavyweight world champion Jean Pascal, 36-6-1, returns to the ring after when he takes on Michael Eifert, 11-1, 4 knockouts in a 12-round IBF light heavyweight elimination bout that will take place at the Palace Bell in Louisville, Connecticut. Pascal's come off a decision win over Fenlong Mang. Eifert is undefeated in his last 5 fights since losing to Tom Dzenski in 2020. Saturday afternoon on ProBox TV from Dubai, good friend Ray Flores will be on the call. Jarrell Big Baby Miller takes another step back towards hopefully getting a world title shot for himself when he takes on former WBA regular champion Lucas Brown. That Miller, who's already ranked number 10 by the WBA, 25-1, 21 knockouts. He will, I'm just trying to readjust things here, 25-1, 21 knockouts. Takes on Brown, who's 31-3, 27 knockouts. That'll be the 10-round main event promoted by Anatoly Salyanov of Hardcore Boxing. ProBox TV will carry the fight at 1 p.m. Eastern time this Saturday. Last week, I happened to be in New York to catch the opening press conference with the big April 22nd pay-per-view showtime between Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Davis came 2 hours late, so I wasn't able to get the interviews I was hoping to get with each fighter that was planned for this show, but I was able to catch some of the comments from both Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, and this is what they sound like when they were up at the podium.
I also added to that name in boxing. Y'all heard those names. But I have one that y'all need y'all to put in your back pocket for the future, because this is a fight that starts a lot of big other fights, become contagious. Here's that other name that y'all gonna have to call me from now on until I die. The biggest instigator in boxing. Yeah, I'm gonna instigate a lot of stuff to make things at least get talked about and put pressure, no matter where you're from, where house you live in. That means promoters. Everybody that had everything to do with this fight, they need to be respected, and thank you to whoever those people, but we know the fans wanted it. You heard that from Tom Brown. This is one of those fights that we know that we don't see maybe once or twice in a year in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It feels like that to me. So all the reporters, everybody that play a role in the sweet science of boxing, please treat it like that. Don't be late. Be on time if you didn't get it. And also understand that you got to respect the game, just like we got to respect your opinions about what you see, what you think you've seen, and what you wrote. But this fight has ingredients, and also because of the two fighters who will be future Hall of Famers, want to prove that come April. Enjoy it. Like I said, this is the top of the year of the biggest fight of this year, and the biggest fight even before it got to this point with 23. We all should treat it that way again. Enjoy the fight, and tell everybody that not fight fans to tune in on this one, and promise them, because I believe everybody in this room should feel that way, that this is going to be a fight that hooks them, that make them stay in the sweet science of being a fan. So if you can do that, and we can do that, see how we can work together. You see how this fight got done? So now we need y'all to do what y'all do. All right? I'm going to cut it with that. Enjoy the fight. And don't ask me who's going to win, because y'all know what side I'm on. And you know what I believe. But now it ain't up to me what I think when it comes to the two fighters. Either you're going to be wrong the day after or that night, or you're going to be right. Let's enjoy the sweet science come April 14th. Thank you. I also added to that name in boxing. Y'all heard those names. But I have one that y'all need y'all to put in your back pocket for the future, because this is a fight that starts a lot of big other fights, become contagious. Here's that other name that y'all gonna have to call me from now on until I die. The biggest instigator in boxing. Yeah, I'm gonna instigate a lot of stuff to make things at least get talked about and put pressure, no matter where you're from, where house you live in. That means promoters. Everybody that had everything to do with this fight, they need to be respected, and thank you to whoever those people, but we know the fans wanted it. You heard that from Tom Brown. This is one of those fights that we know that we don't see maybe once or twice in a year in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It feels like that to me. So all the reporters, everybody that play a role in the sweet science of boxing, please treat it like that. Don't be late. Be on time if you didn't get it. And also understand that you got to respect the game, just like we got to respect your opinions about what you see, what you think you've seen, and what you wrote. But this fight has ingredients, and also because of the two fighters who will be future Hall of Famers, want to prove that come April. Enjoy it. Like I said, this is the top of the year of the biggest fight of this year, and the biggest fight even before it got to this point with 23. We all should treat it that way again. Enjoy the fight, and tell everybody that not fight fans to tune in on this one, and promise them, because I believe everybody in this room should feel that way, that this is going to be a fight that hooks them, that make them stay in the sweet science of being a fan. So if you can do that, and we can do that, see how we can work together. You see how this fight got done? So now we need y'all to do what y'all do. All right? I'm gonna cut it with that. Enjoy the fight. And don't ask me who's gonna win, because y'all know what side I'm on. And you know what I believe. But now it ain't up to me what I think when it comes to the two fighters. Either you're gonna be wrong the day after or that night, or you're gonna be right. Let's enjoy the sweet science come April 14th.
Thank you very much, Brian. And as I was thinking about my comments today, one word that really comes to mind is mega fight. The word gets thrown around a lot. By when somebody hears about a pay-per-view is happening and taking place, there's some boxing insiders who will call it a mega fight just because it's on pay-per-view. But how often do you get two guys who are undefeated, two fighters who have huge fan bases, two fighters who are early in their peak of their career, and two guys that are represented by different companies, different broadcasters? To me, that's what a mega fight is all about, is bringing everyone together, bringing, first of all, the fighters together, the best two fighters in their weight division, in that same ring, and getting everyone together to work together for a big mega fight. That's what it's all about. So it almost never happens, but Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis is one that the world is not gonna miss. Trust me, when we were promoting fights back in the day with Mayweather and myself and everybody, those big mega fights is what made boxing. When two personalities come into the ring together and create the perfect storm. And that's exactly what they're gonna do on April 22nd, is create the perfect storm. And yeah, a lot of guys obviously know I'm with my guy, and this is the reason why we're gonna bring back those glory days, those big pay-per-view glory days, because of this guy right here, Ryan Garcia. So April 22nd, these two guys here are gonna battle it out, they're gonna fight, and I can't do any talking whatsoever because I'm not gonna fight for them, and they gotta do the job themselves. But that's the beauty, they wanted this fight. Nobody else. Ryan Garcia wanted this fight years ago, and now it's here, April 22nd. So may the best man win. May the best man win. I have a lot of respect for Tank. He's an amazing fighter, a great fighter. He's a special fighter. And I have a lot of respect for Ryan Garcia. He's a great fighter and a special fighter as well. So April 27, good luck, and may the best man win. Thank you.
There you see Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins speaking very eloquently last week at the press conference. Some news items this week. Undisputed super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez will take on John Ryder on May 6th at Estadio Akron in Jalisco, Guadalajara, Mexico, the hometown of Canelo Alvarez. That fight will be set for live on DAZN pay-per-view on Saturday, May the 6th. U.S. Olympic silver medalist Torres has been forced to withdraw from his March 25th homecoming fight due to a training injury. Torres' 5-0 5-out knockouts was set to take on Willie Jake Jr. In the ESPN televised opener that's going to see Richard Comey take on Jose Ramirez. Former 135-pound world champion, undisputed world champion George Kambosos and current IBF rated IBF number 7 will be back in action against Maxie Hughes, the number 9 ranked IBF lightweight contender, in an IBF eliminator for the number 2 spot. That fight will most likely take place in Australia. Contracts haven't been signed yet, or have been signed, but no date as of yet. Undisputed female lightweight world champion Katie Taylor, 22-0, has a chance to become a 2-weight undisputed world champion when she takes on Chantel Cameron, 17-0, 8 knockouts. That fight will take place on May the 20th at the arena in Dublin, Ireland. Shown world on DAZN. tremendous fight. A lot of people are leaning Chantel Cameron's way due to her being the bigger girl, maybe a little bit fresher. But we will get more into that fight as May 20th gets closer. Mentioned before about Thomas Lamont, the number 5 WBA middleweight in the world. The WBA middleweight champion, Gennady Golovkin, just got rid of his belt. He vacated his belt. That will make Arislandi Lara the regular champion, the full champion now. Lara now is set to take on Michael Zarafa. I guess they'll start negotiating very, very soon. Zarafa is the number 1 ranked contender. Sergio Martinez 2, Austin Williams 3, Conor Quarter 4, and the aforementioned Thomas Lamana number 5. Golden Boy Fight Night will return on April the 6th at Fantasy Springs Casino. We'll take on former WBO light flyweight champion Angel Acosta, 23-3, 22 knockouts. He will take on Angelino Cordova, 17-1, 12 knockouts. It's going to be a good fight on paper. Acosta always in good action fights, win, lose, or draw. Actually, just win or lose. Hasn't had any draws yet. Unbeaten junior middleweight prospect Xander Zayas has been forced to withdraw from his April 1st fight against Ronald Cruz at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That bout was supposed to be part of the fight with the fight card with Robesi, Ramirez, and Isaac Dogbe. And so Zayas seems like he'll be back in June, just in time for maybe Puerto Rican week at the Madison Square Garden. Maybe, I mean, obviously they're scheduling a big fight between Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez at the Garden. Could Xander Zayas be in as a co-feature? We shall see. We'll end on a good note. Former IBF 130-pound champion Billy Dibb has been undergoing intensive chemotherapy and got some good news. He's cancer-free, and that's terrific news to hear about the former 130-pound champion from Australia, Billy the Kid Dibb. Met him a couple of times when he fought for Top Rank. Nice guy, and very glad to hear that he is doing well and is cancer-free. Like I said, next week we'll be live from Las Vegas, live on Abrams Boxing on YouTube. We'll be doing all kinds of show, all kinds of guests. We'll get everybody. We'll get all the fighters. Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, everyone on the card, anyone who's hanging around the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. So I'd like to thank everyone out for watching this week, and we will talk to you next week from Las Vegas.